You should know
Okay.
the design assurance and review process, like hazard operations,
Right.
like the safety integrity level,
Right.
health and safety engineering,
Right.
alarm as low as reasonably practicable, and such
Mm-hmm.
things. And
Mm-hmm.
you should know in and out the technical details,
Details.
or you should have the technical skills and knowledge.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to FaceTime with Leaders, a podcast brought to you by Directors Institute. I'm your host, Charu Mehra, and today we are in for a real treat. We've got Mr. Chandra Malluri with us today, a true expert in oil and gas world. With over 26 years of experience, he's worked on some huge projects, from rotating equipment to massive engineering ventures. But what's really stand out is that Mr. Chandra has navigated the challenges of working on global projects and the way he's mentored along the way. Today, we are going to dive into his journey, talk about some of the ups and downs of the industry, and discuss how technology is changing the game in the world of oil and gas. Whether you're in engineering, leadership, or just curious about how big projects come together, there's going to be plenty of insights for you. Mr. Chandra, thank you so much for being here, sir. We are excited to hear your thoughts and experiences today.
Thank you, Charu. Thank you very much. That's a really great introduction. I'm also looking forward to see how this manifests. I mean, with your questions, probably I'll get more insight into myself.
Right. I'm looking
Thank
forward
you.
to that discussion with you, sir.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Chandra, you've had such an impressive career journey spanning decades in the field of mechanical engineering and rotating equipment. But every great journey has its beginning, right? So, if you could walk us through how you first got started in this fascinating industry, what was it in this field that sparked your interest and led you to become an expert in this field?
See, I'm from the middle class. Like every middle class journey, it starts, we go with the flow. So
Right,
we are a lot of peers, everybody going and joining engineering,
right,
medicine, navy, army, everything. And me being in a what you say industrial township, so everybody was going towards engineering. Okay, we also wrote the entrance exams, we passed, and we didn't really decide that we have to go towards engineering, but whatever it may be, luck or whatever, I got into mechanical engineering. That
right.
was the first luck.
Right.
Then, of course, after engineering, we need a job, so scouting for jobs.
Mhm.
And fortunately for me, I could get into all the top public sectors:
Wow.
BHEL, NTPC, SAIL. Naturally, what happens is a person who qualifies for one public sector automatically qualifies for all.
Right.
So I could get into BHEL because I chose BHEL because
Mm-hmm.
of my social considerations, because I
Okay.
was born and brought up in BHEL. Okay, we
Mm-hmm.
joined BHEL, assigned to turbines and compressor engineering,
Right.
started designing centrifugal compressors.
Mm-hmm.
And the irony part was, I was very bad at thermodynamics in my engineering. Okay. And my first job, I had to dig in and out of thermodynamics.
Right.
Okay. But anyway, in BHL, I developed many centrifugal compressors, manufactured
Mm-hmm.
and deliver in
Mm-hmm.
varied industries. I delivered compressors to oil and gas, fertilizer
Okay.
plants, even
Wow.
steel plants, and so many plants. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then the largest achievement was I designed a 15 megawatt compressor, which
Wow.
was the largest.
Mm-hmm.
After that, in BHL, there were a lot of other activities or important milestones that I've gone through.
Right.
I established the first integrally geared compressor in BHL.
Wow.
I traveled extensively to US to bring the 3D impeller manufacturing and design technology to BHL.
Mm-hmm.
I established the first impeller test rig ever in BHL. Hmm?
Wow. Wow.
And then apart from this, these are the physical aspects. Apart from this, I have done even software projects for this design,
Mm-hmm.
which has enhanced the design capability of BHL to a lot extent. You see, I'm talking in the year 1995-96.
Right, right,
At that time, that was the time when the computers were being invented.
right.
Before that, it was a very slow process wherein the software were run on mainframes, and
Mm-hmm.
when you submit the input in the morning, you get it somewhere at the midnight. Okay.
Okay, okay.
And we find that there are errors in the input, and you redo the whole thing. But
Oh
anyway,
my
we
God.
did all this programming, and really we were see, to simply say, the design time which was taking 30 days, we could reduce it to 3 days. Imagine.
Wow,
Okay.
wow.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that was the thing. Okay. Then I was there in BHL for quite some time, did all these. We did a lot of value engineering aspects also, wherein I got a lot of awards, and even, of course, monetary benefits also on that. But after some time, I realized, yes, I need to do something different.
Right.
Then I took a break. I
Mm-hmm.
took a sabbatical.
Mm-hmm.
I went to Asian Institute of Management, one of the top management institute in Philippines. Okay.
Okay.
It's a 1 year MBA program.
Mm-hmm.
But I did that program. Then I came back. Then I got a very good opportunity in Middle East with a
Wow.
company called Petrofac.
Hmm.
Petrofac was a EPC company. So now till date I was in design, manufacture and managing the manufacturing and delivery of the individual equipment.
Okay.
Now I am on the EPC contract side, wherein you have to now dwell with a much more larger portfolio.
Mm-hmm.
It's not only compressors. You have to deal with motors, you have to deal with instrument air packages, you have to deal with pumps, you
Mm-hmm.
have to deal with EOT cranes, and all gamut of mechanical engineering equipment.
Right.
Okay, that's where I got a much more exposure, much more perspective. I was fortunate that I was traveling extensively everywhere. I was traveling to Japan, I was traveling to US, traveling to Europe, name South Korea, everywhere. With this experience, I found that there was a lot of what do you say disjoints in the industry. Okay.
Okay.
Anyway, that's okay. Once I was there with Petrofac for 3 years
Mm-hmm.
and delivered a very huge project for Petroleum Development Oman.
Okay.
Petroleum Development Oman is the national oil company of Oman.
Oh man.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
They saw my potential on this project,
Mm-hmm.
and they specifically invited me. Why don't you join us?
Wow.
That was like an honor, you see. So then I moved to Petroleum Development Oman, wherein I was a technical authority. The
Mm-hmm.
first day itself, they gave me the technical authority, and we'll
Right.
explain that later.
Uh,
In Petroleum Development Oman, I delivered one of the what do you say high soar projects, Rabab Harville integrated project.
okay. Mm-hmm.
The project started with a outlay of 4 billion, finally ended up with 6 billion.
Wow. Wow.
Imagine 6 billion. So that's the size of the project, and the project
Mm-hmm.
took. Actually, initially we envisaged it would be completed within 2 years, but it
Mm-hmm.
took 6 years. Okay, to be
Oh,
frank,
okay.
because
Okay.
of the
Okay.
soreness of the project.
Hmm.
Okay, then at Petal Development, I worked on Ibal third phase compressor, SNDs, and many projects.
Hmm.
These are regular oil and gas projects.
Right.
But my major achievements were I was able to, uh, what do you say, establish the price agreement for centrifugal compressors in PDO. Okay.
Okay.
Because every time what happens, you go for a tender, you evaluate the tender, and then
Hmm.
it is a long process of more than 6 to 9 months. But once
Right.
you have a price agreement, you have the price. Whenever you have a new order, you just check which price it fits and you just take it. So this
Okay.
has reduced the tendering process from 8 to 9 months to only 1 month.
Wow.
It was only
Wow.
the price that needs to be negotiated. Okay.
Right.
So then I got the chairman award for excellence for this. And also within PDO, we did some project. Nowadays, lean is the norm, right? So we
Right.
did some lean projects, and then I could eliminate waste, and then we could save around 50 million in 5 years. So
Wow.
these were the
Wow.
achievements. Now, when I started, now you understood. When I started all this trying to achieve, and then getting these recommendations, commendations, everything, I felt yes, personal satisfaction. Yes, this time that I move further. Okay.
Right.
So this is how. my journey has started, and I had been into the mechanical engineering field and then expanded my portfolio into all equipment and
Right.
even into project management, value engineering, and other corporate developments.
Right. Wow, that's really fantastic insight to your career, Mr. Chandra, because you talked about that it was luck that you got into the sector, but it has been your passion and perseverance which helped you move ahead in your career. And it's truly inspiring to know how these early experiences set the foundation of your career and helped you navigate challenges with resilience. And of course, you got opportunities because people could see the potential you had, and it is really wonderful, sir. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
So, Mr. Chandra, being a technical authority at Shell, you hold a position that carries a great deal of responsibility, especially when it comes to approving equipment specifications.
Yes.
And I'm sure there is a lot of pressure to ensure everything is set up at the highest standards. So, in your experience, what is that one aspect that you never compromise when it comes to approving these specifications, and what impact does it have uh, to have the correct specifications for the success of the project?
Charu, very good question. See, working on multi-billion projects, that oil and gas projects, not
Right.
necessarily oil and gas, even chemical industry or any project, okay, brings a great deal of responsibility in
I'm
making
sure.
decisions.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
so everybody cannot make these decisions. It's very difficult unless you
Right.
have the complete knowledge through in
Agreed.
and out. You will not be able to make a decision. And again,
Right.
when you make this decision, these decisions are again challenged, right?
Right.
So
Agreed.
there should be some authority. Once they give the decision, there should not be any further challenge. Okay,
Right.
the decision might be right or wrong, but that's not the point. But there should be a position who, like a judge, has the final
Agreed.
authority on any issue that comes up.
Agreed.
So to have this, actually it is as per Shell standard. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a very rigorous process. They don't invite you. It is only by invitation that you cannot simply go and apply for this technical authority. It is only by
Okay.
invitation. They see
Okay.
your caliber, then they
Right.
invite you.
Right.
And again, you have to undergo a very rigorous process to
Mm-hmm.
get qualified. Especially, you should be very clear on AIPSM, which is nothing but asset integrity and process safety management.
Okay.
You should know
Okay.
the design assurance and review process, like hazard operations,
Right.
like the safety integrity level,
Right.
health and safety engineering,
Right.
alarm as low as reasonably practicable, and such
Mm-hmm.
things. And
Mm-hmm.
you should know in and out the technical details,
Details.
or you should have the technical skills and knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
Once you pass all this, there is a very critical interview which is done by a TA0. TA0 is nothing but the CEO of the company.
Okay.
Sometimes he may delegate someone on
Okay.
his behalf because getting his
Okay.
time is difficult.
Mm-hmm.
But once you qualify and you give any decision or
Mm-hmm.
any directive, it has to be followed meticulously. There is no challenge for
Right.
that. If
Right.
anybody needs to challenge, it has to be challenged only at the management level, which
Okay.
is not the case in 99.99%,
Person. Mm-hmm.
because they choose a person who can make that decision, right?
Right.
As I
Right.
explained
And
you. So, whenever I make a decision, the real important things are technical integrity, design integrity, operational integrity, and HSE, health and safety.
right.
If my decision is breaching of any of these four aspects, no,
Right.
that decision is not given at all.
Not.
So, any
Okay.
decision I give will not breach any of these aspects. Okay, let me give you one example. Currently,
Mm-hmm.
I'm working on a CCUS project, carbon capture, utilization, and sequestration project,
Mm-hmm.
in which you have a CO2 pump. This CO2
Okay.
pump is being built for the first time in the world,
Oh. Okay.
and the pressure is around 550 bar. Till date, there has been no CO2 seal
Mm-hmm.
which has been designed for these pressures.
Okay.
Now, the
Wow.
CO2 seal vendor comes and says, okay, I'll give you this, I'll give you that, no issues, and all assurances on paper. But in this aspect, my decision was very clear. You need to test the seal with carbon dioxide, that is CO2,
Okay.
at 550
Okay.
bar. then only you get
Wow.
the order.
Agreed.
Now,
Okay.
what does this entail? This entails schedule risk and also cost. The
Right.
cost was enormous. It was over 1 million. So management, so 1 million, why should I spend extra? I don't want to
Just
spend
for the
it.
testing.
And you are asking me a delivery of under 2 months extra.
Right.
So this is where your technical authority or your knowledge comes into picture. So you
Right.
go, you explain them, you convince them, no, this is the issue. In future, touch wood, nothing should happen. If anything happens, you will not have any recourse. Let me
Absolutely.
bring to you the attention of few catastrophes that happened in the world. For
Hmm.
example, the Bhopal tragedy or
Agreed.
the Chernobyl.
Right.
These are the things. If you compromise on small things over here, this is having to have a everlasting effect on the society as a whole.
Absolutely. Right.
So
Right.
ultimately, technical integrity, design integrity, operational integrity, and HSC are the major things which shall not be compromised.
Right, right. Wow, wow. That's really powerful insight, Mr. Chandra. And it's clear that you're focused on those key elements, quality, safety, and bigger project vision, where you are also considerate of what impact will the society have if something fails. It truly makes all the difference in shaping a successful outcome. So that's really wonderful. So, Mr. Chandra, when it comes to working on proposals and preparing bids, we all know how high the stakes can be. But from your extensive experience, what are some of the most common missteps that you've noticed organizations make during the process, and they might not even realize of those mistakes? How do you ensure that your proposals truly stand out?
Excellent question. Because I was in this industry, I find a lot of mistakes, a lot of pitfalls, wherein the EPC contract lands up paying heavily,
Right.
or on the contrary, the client also pays heavily because of the mistakes that he overlooks.
Agreed. Agreed.
Yeah. So what I have seen is in this whole period of this 20 years, which have been on the EPC or oil and gas projects,
Mhm.
the structures have varied in which the way the projects are being built.
Mhm.
Earlier, originally it was boom, build, own, operate and maintain.
Okay.
Then it has converted to boot, build, own, operate and transfer. Then there are EPC contracts, engineering, procurement and construction, and then handed over to the client to operate.
Right.
Of course, there will be some guarantee period of 6 months to 1 year.
Right. Right.
Now it has completely changed to EPCM contracts. Engineering and procurement is done by one contractor. Construction and management is done by some other contractor.
Okay. Okay.
Even in this construction and management, the management part is done by a PMC contractor. You
Okay.
know what's the PMC contractor? Project management consultant. Standardly used in oil and gas projects as well as in huge civil projects also.
Right. Right.
Right. So for any of this contractor to quote, he needs to have a very good feed. Feed in the sense front end engineering and design.
Okay.
Again, this front end engineering and design is done by a third party.
Okay.
Third party expert contractor.
Mm-hmm.
If this feed is flimsy, this doesn't have all the details,
Right.
the EPC contractor or EPCM contractor bases his proposal on this feed. So this is where the mistakes takes place.
Mm-hmm.
So we give an opportunity to the EPC contractor
Right.
to go through the feed and highlight if there is any lacuna or risk factor which needs to be addressed.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Generally, when we go for EPC contract, minimum three bids. So suppose we have three or four EPC contractors, everybody come together and then they tell, okay, there is a gap over here, there's a mistake over here. All
Right.
these things needs to be addressed. If
Mm-hmm.
they are not addressed and still we insist the EPC contractor quote,
Mm-hmm.
there are bound to be mistakes. Okay.
Right.
Now let me put into the EPC contractor shoes.
Right.
Now I am generating proposal. Okay, once upon a time I was also EPC contractor, so I also developed proposals. That's how this you ask this question. I know. So when we are developing a certain contract,
Mm-hmm.
the contract had a clause to guarantee the power.
Okay.
Okay. So the whole engineering team worked day and night more than 2 months, and then they have come out with, of course, all other aspects. And one
Mhm.
of the aspect of power consumption, they calculated the power shall be around 26 megawatt.
Okay.
Fine. Then before submitting the bid, this is a $4 billion bid. Huh? So,
Wow.
before submitting the bid, there's a due diligence, there's a peer review committee, and
Hmm.
then there was a huge meeting with the total management.
Right.
Even the directors were present because 4 billion, you can imagine the size. So all the directors are present.
Absolutely right.
Questions fly here, there, everything. Okay, ultimately, we told you should consider 26 megawatt
Hmm.
because if you quote more, you may not get the contract. If you quote less, later if the power is more, you have a huge penalty, which
Right.
will eat away your complete profits.
Right.
Then our engineering director at that time, a very shrewd guy, excellent. No, let us quote 32 megawatt.
Okay.
Then we said, what is your basis? We have
Hmm.
done all the calculations. I have all the paper, all the calculations with me in front of us. No, I am making a decision like a technical authority. You see, he said, let's quote 32 megawatt. Fine.
Right.
We went. Finally, the beauty, once when all the bids, competitor bids were opened, all of them have all quoted at the same power level.
Oh,
Almost. We were really surprised. Then we
right.
asked him, how is it, sir? How did you base this? What is this? And all that.
Right.
And then he told us. Of course, I learned. That's the learning which there are some thumb rules in the industry. Every company has it. It is a like a business secret.
Hmm.
Okay. For example, in this huge project, what is the ratio of civil works to the equipment being supplied?
Okay.
If that ratio is not gelling with the general ratio what we have in the company, then you
Mhm.
go and analyze little deeper. But
Right.
you find it, that's how they find the mistakes. So
Oh.
these are all thumb rules, general due diligence activities. So before you submit any huge tender, there
Hmm.
should be a due peer review along with the management,
Right.
and we should not miss this step at all. Why I am saying this? Generally due to urgency, the tender has to be submitted today.
Right. Right.
You overlook and you take shortcuts.
Right.
Absolutely no. We have to have the due diligence.
So it's a great point, Mr. Chandra, and it's clear how crucial it is not to just meet expectations, but also push the envelope with technical depth, practicality, due diligence, and all the required checks complete before you publish the tender. So that's a great point.
Yes, indeed.
So, Mr. Chandra, looking at the evolving trends in the oil and gas industry, especially with the push towards sustainability these days, how do you see the role of rotating equipment evolving? What, according to you, you think technological advancements, do you predict that will play a significant role in shaping the industry in the coming years?
True. Let me think. See, the oil and gas technology of extracting oil
Mm-hmm.
has not changed much for the last 40 years.
Right,
Okay.
right. Mm.
Okay, before we go further, let us dwell on what are all the techniques available. Simple wells wherein you can have a hand pump and extract oil.
Okay,
You might have seen some beam pumps on the side of the road,
right,
little bit mechanized. Hand pump is mechanized with a motor so that it continuously
right,
pulls the oil.
right.
Very simple. Then, if the well is still deeper, you can have a electrical submersible pump like our borewell pump. You see,
Normal water
same
pump.
our borewell
Right.
pump. You put the pump inside the well and you pull oil.
Solar.
Done.
Okay.
Very
Mm.
good. But there are oils which are very thick. They are like tar. Of course,
Mm.
tar comes from oil itself.
Right, right, right.
Very thick. So extract this. They are very deep, around 2000 to 1500 to 2000 to 3000 meters deep.
Okay,
Okay. Okay. To extract oil from there, there are other techniques which are called enhanced oil recovery,
okay,
EOR techniques.
okay,
So in this, one of the major technology, what is called is gas lift. What you
okay,
do, you dig a well, you put high pressure gas into it,
Okay.
Then the oil comes out because of this pressure.
Okay.
Very simple. There is something called miscible gas injection.
Mm-hmm.
You again inject gas.
Mm-hmm.
This gas goes in, mixes with the oil, and
Mm-hmm.
lightens the oil. Then you put the ESP and pull out the oil.
Okay.
Simple. So, and then there are a lot of other techniques also
Mm-hmm.
wherein we lighten the oil. For example, you inject steam. Steam is hot,
Hot.
so it will
Pelts.
lighten the oil. Okay, and we have polymer injection, we have
Okay.
chemical injection. So
Okay.
many techniques are there, but
Right.
ultimately all these techniques have not changed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, only thing what I can really do on the equipment or rotating equipment side is improve the efficiency of this equipment,
Okay.
which we call it as on plot equipment, because these are not inside the well but outside the well. If I
Okay.
can improve them,
Mm-hmm.
any improvement in efficiency is a direct saving in energy, direct saving in cost, and a direct saving in environment. You see,
Right. Right.
because I'll be burning less coal or less energy to produce
Of
the
course.
same amount of oil.
Mm.
Okay, so in the future there are two things. One, when it comes to environment, okay, rotating equipment, when it comes to environment, nowadays people are going for CCUS, which we touched upon earlier,
Right.
carbon capture, utilization, storage.
Right.
They capture this carbon dioxide,
Mm-hmm.
and this carbon dioxide is now injected into the wells instead of the natural gas, which I said earlier.
Earlier.
This
Mm-hmm.
carbon dioxide goes into the well and does the activity what we wanted to do.
Okay. Okay.
Two advantages. One, I am not releasing carbon dioxide into the environment,
Employment. Right.
saving the environment,
Right.
and then even producing oil. See the double advantage.
Right.
So, in this aspect, earlier we talked about this CO2 pump, 550 bar, which is the first being designed in the world.
Right.
Okay, so this is going to be the future. Okay,
Wow.
apart from this, we
Mm-hmm.
can also talk about digitalization. Okay, so with the new advent of all this artificial intelligence,
Mm-hmm.
we can try to develop new applications which can make the process more efficient, or which can make the process of selecting the equipment more efficient.
Efficient. Hmm.
Okay. Mm. I'm already working on such a project, but I cannot, I don't know the result. It will take some time.
Right. Right.
So this is the future. Future would be saving the environment, producing the oil in a more environment friendly, eco friendly, and more efficiently,
Manner.
because it is going to stay for some time
Right.
and have the sustainability.
Right. Right. Right.
Till such time, we have renewable energy sources, what do you say, to take care of the energy demand that we have.
Right. Right. Wow, wow. It's incredible to hear how you see the future of the industry shaping up, especially with the focus on sustainability using AI for, helping you achieve desired result. And it's really fascinating, Mr. Chandra.
Yeah, it's a fascinating field.
Right, right.
Really
And
fascinating field.
someone like me who has no idea how things happen behind the scenes, it's really interesting to hear all the information that you're sharing. So I'm sure our
Yes,
audience will also agree to it, and this episode will be quite interesting.
sure, of course. Thank you.
So looking ahead, Mr. Chandra, what are your personal and professional aspirations for the future? How do you see your role evolving? Anything? Yeah.
Yes, I was also dwelling on this. Actually, that's how I got into this.
Right,
Actually, I have two goals as of now. Okay. Okay, let me elaborate a little bit. See,
sure.
I am in this industry, as you know, for the past more than 25, 30 years.
Right,
Okay. The structure of the industry, we have the end customer, that is a client or a national operating company like ADNOC or PDO.
right,
And then we have the PMC consultants, then we have the engineering consultants, then we have the EPC contractor, and all this structure. What I
right.
see is, in the past 20 years, or let me, yeah, 20 years, From the year around 2000, 2002, the IT industry was dominating.
Right. Right.
So everybody was moving towards IT. Any who has done civil engineering, even mechanical engineering or metallurgical engineering,
Mhm.
I don't know why they have done that. They all moved to IT.
IT.
So, so as on today, there's a huge gap in talent. Okay, because of which, what is happening? All the engineers who are coming, they have to start from scratch, but
Mhm.
they don't have any legacy within the company that can help them
Agree.
because there's a gap. And the
Right.
people who really had the knowledge have left the organization by this
Right.
time.
Right.
They're retired. So these people are starting from scratch. Lots of mistakes that happen, and everything comes to me day in and day out.
Mhm.
Because, as we discussed earlier, oh, you are the technical authority, please give us the decision. It is so, of course, I love it, but sometimes for silly, I get frustrated. But anyway,
Mhm.
so there's a gap. So we need to bridge this gap. How do I
Right.
bridge this gap? A lot of legacy documentation is there, but these young engineers don't know how to go and search for this data
Okay.
because somebody has to teach them. There is
Right.
no senior people available to guide them or teach them. This is where I would like to bring artificial intelligence into picture.
Wow.
This is what I was talking earlier.
Okay.
So all this documentation has to be processed in such a way and kept that when a new engineer comes, okay, he has to select a certain pump, he has to select a certain compressor. So he can easily do it using this artificial intelligence.
So, like
Further,
basically creating a database of the knowledge.
exactly,
Mm.
exactly, yes, 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 creating database and then capturing the requirements with artificial intelligence.
Right.
Same as how a computer detects a object.
Right.
We have Google, right? In Google, if you see it, the picture, it'll tell you what it is, which building it is, where it is, and
Right.
everything. Such a thing. Okay,
Right.
that's what is my vision. So that's one thing. And then we can also talk about operations and maintenance. Okay,
Mhm.
there was one research done wherein they are able to predict the failure of a machine 2 months ahead.
Wow.
Okay, with artificial intelligence.
Wow.
So I would like to really improve upon that and see that. See, if you know that a machine fails before 2 months, you can have. Once the machine fails, there is no recourse.
No, absolutely
You
right.
to repair it will take you 1 year, but
Right.
before, see, this will greatly improve your efficiency of operations and maintenance. This is
Right.
one aspect. Apart from this, another goal which I have a little bit side to this is the social governance aspect,
Mhm.
which I was feeling, what do you say, very bad of late. For example, especially in the Middle East, the engineering consultants,
Mhm.
they recruit engineers, but they just give them a lump sum pay, fixed
Okay.
pay.
Okay.
Nothing extra is given. They have to manage the housing, they have to
Right.
manage the schooling, they have to manage the transport, and so many aspects, right? But this was not the case when I was working with earlier companies. But
Right.
this is what is the trend now.
Now. Mhm.
Poor guys, when they come to office, should they concentrate on the work or should they be thinking that
Oh,
home somebody is sick, I have to take them to
right.
hospital or take a school and all those things.
Right.
So on the social governance aspect, I really want to see if I can make a difference and influence and see that companies, somebody joins a company, everything is handled by HR
Right.
and no undue burden is put on the engineer so that the engineer when he comes to office he gives 100%. And I believe personally this is required on this day because there is a gap, as I explained earlier. A
Right.
20-year gap is there.
Right.
It will be very difficult to bridge that gap
Agree.
unless we have engineers. If you don't have in such a way, you will not be able to create any wonders.
And
So these are my two goals.
and do you want to, do you see yourself getting to boardroom and having, leadership roles where you have the power of decision making?
Exactly, this is what I was talking about. So I would like to get into the actually this was the major reason why I am over here talking to you.
Program. Yes.
because I want because when I talk to the board members, when I talk to my directors or vice president or senior vice presidents, they are not aware of the nitty gritty or the problems that these engineers face. Oh, we are paying them. What's the problem?
Right.
But I know the intricacies. I know what happens. I know the psychology of the engineers, how they behave. Okay. When there is something really urgent or very crucial issue going on in the office, he's not able to concentrate. Then I ask him what happened. No, I have some issue. I need to go to school. Or
Right.
I not found admission for my daughter. I don't know what to do. These are the things, right?
Right.
So this is where I want to make a difference. So if I am in the boardroom, probably I can convince the board. Not probably, I will definitely convince the board and tell them no. This is not going to create efficiency for your organization. Actually, it is creating inefficiency for you. The person is physically present, but he is not working for you.
Right. Right.
So
Right.
these are the HR. Yeah, when we learn HR, these are the things that are taught. But nowadays, HR is only a, what do you say, call center. You call them, you want a salary certificate or a salary slip, they'll give to you. You tell them, I want something like, what do you say, book my flight ticket, they'll book you. But real HR is nowadays invisible.
Right.
Nobody,
Right.
no, it's only call center, body shopping, and such things. So
Wow.
I'll let me see how I'll make a difference.
Wow, it's really inspiring to hear, how you're looking at the future, Mr. Chandra, because your vision is not only about your personal growth, but you are actually thinking about the coming generations, how you can make their life easier. And it's really, really inspiring, sir.
Yes, yes, indeed.
And I really hope and wish that whatever you're aspiring for yourself, you achieve that because it's really because there are very less people who think of society as a whole and they just would want to do things for themselves. But you're thinking about the coming generation of engineers, which is a great task, sir.
Thank you, thank you. It's encouraging to hear that.
So, Mr. Chandra, you've had extensive experience in oil and gas sector, particularly in technical and leadership roles. So, in your opinion, what key practices in corporate governance should companies adopt to ensure long-term sustainability and ethical decision making, especially in your industry? And what is the importance of evolving importance of corporate governance in today's business landscape?
Well, yes. Corporate governance is what is very, that's the major decision making factor which has made me to choose this course, you know. Let me see. See, okay, let me give few examples of certain corporate governance failures
Right.
in engineering industry, which people can, what do you say, relate to. For example, you may be knowing the Bhopal tragedy.
Mhm.
Why did it happen? Corporate governance failure. Okay, more than 40 years.
Right.
Okay, okay. Now let us see the latest. Did you hear about this Sri Salem tunnel collapse? The
Yes.
recent one?
Yes.
What is
Yes.
it? Corporate governance failure.
Mm.
Okay. Corporate governance failure need not be on the all other environment or social aspects, but on the technical aspects, definitely, right?
Right.
Generally, generally, when you go for such huge projects, you know the design assurance reviews, which we spoke earlier,
Right.
hazardous operation review, safety integrity level review, alarm, all these things should be done before we really start anything. Fine. Then there are other tools or other processes and systems which should be mandatorily be done before we start any work. For example, in the Sri Salem tunnel, I really don't know the things, but generally when workers start a hazardous activity, there is something called as a toolbox talk. Okay. So all the workers, the actual workers who are going to dig or who are going to really work practically on the job, they have a toolbox talk and
Mhm.
all of them decide, right? Okay, this is the risk. this is the advantage, or this we have all these tools, we
Right.
have all the drawings available, or everything. Okay, let's discuss. But in practical reality, what happens? The contractor, because these are workers, lower
That's
level,
mm,
he intimidated them. What are you? Start the work, start the work, start the work. I have seen this practically.
right.
These
Right.
guys don't know what to do. They rush and start the work.
Mm,
And you see, such disasters happen. These have happened in the oil and gas industry also. If you talk about this, what do you say, Long Island disaster, okay, or this Chernobyl, which we talked just now. Apart from that, there are many small disasters which don't come out into the public domain.
mhm,
Okay, there is something called as a buddy system. Okay, when somebody is entering into a confined space, two persons should be there, one person should be watching, and the other person should go inside.
okay.
But what happens? Both go inside,
Mm,
and because of the hazardous environment, both collapse. It has happened multiple times,
mhm,
but still people don't learn.
right.
So these are the corporate governance failures with respect to the operational integrity and maintenance integrity aspects. So there should be proper procedures and processes in place. Even though they are there, they are not implemented and used effectively,
Agree.
which is creating these problems. That's where I was talking about asset integrity and process safety management is what comes into picture here.
Right.
So what should the board or what should the management do? They should have clear cut checks and periodical audits to
Mhm,
ensure that all these things are being
taken.
followed meticulously.
Right.
And who is responsible for this? For example, we take the Sri Salem project. It should have been the chief engineer.
Mhm,
Okay. Although chief engineer might be in a different company, contractor is a different company.
right.
Maybe this contract is a subcontract. It happens, main company gives contract to someone, that contractor gives to a subcontract, and the subcontractor gives to one more subcontractor.
Right.
Even if it's a long chain, the chief engineer or the CEO of the main company is very, very, very responsible. This is where corporate governance comes into picture.
Right.
So this is what I have to say. So with my experience, I know in the oil and gas industry what needs to be implemented and where are the gaps. But things do happen.
Agreed, agreed. And your perspective is hearing your perspective is great, Mr. Chandra, because we don't understand what, as I spoke about it earlier, we don't know what happens in the back. But your insights on how governance shape not only businesses success, but also sustainable and ethical practices, it's incredibly valuable, especially for in industries with such complex challenges. It's really important.
Exactly. There are no shortcuts to cut cost.
Agreed, agreed. Because in the end,
With
cost, it's cost to life is there if you don't take care of
yes,
these things in advance.
exactly. Rightly said. Yes, rightly said.
So, Mr. Chandra, you've recently joined Directors Institute and must be an exciting new chapter in your professional journey. Uh, you've talked about it in your previous answers that the reason why you joined this curriculum. But for the benefit of the audiences, could you share with us what inspired you to take this step and what is your experience been so far?
Sure. Yes. Let me put it in a different way. For example, we all watch movies, right? Yeah. Oh, why did the villain do like this? Why did the hero do like this? And maybe at an intellectual, more intellectual level, you might have felt, oh, director could have done this scene in a different way, right? But okay, you have said that. Can you go and do it? You can never try because of your social, technological, your economic constraints,
Agreed.
or your family and all. You will not do it. Okay, good, done. You are not able to influence there, but you have a you are able to think. We are of course social beings. We think,
Of
right?
course.
Of course. Okay. Let me give one more example. Near your locality, let us say there is a drain which is not being cleaned by the municipality workers for quite some time.
Right.
What you do, you always pass by it. You'll scold the municipality, you'll scold the government, and then next day, as usual, you again go.
See that.
But you don't go and talk about it, or you'll talk to your friends and you scold. But did you ever go to the municipality or the relevant authority and tell them, sir, there is a drain which is not being cleaned for the past few days?
Mhm.
Probably when you go and tell them, they would immediately respond to, oh, sir, we didn't know about it. And they immediately clear it within the next one day.
Right. Right.
This is called influence.
Mhm.
You don't go and speak to people. Okay. If you don't go and speak, how they will know? It's not their fault at all.
Right.
They
Right.
were not aware of it. Okay. This is the same thing that happens in oil and gas projects and probably all projects.
Other industries as
Okay. Uh, so how do you influence? Influence doesn't mean that you have a authority, and influence means at least you should go and apprise them that certain issue is there. This is
well.
the same thing which I will be able to do because of my, I'm not bragging on my background, but because at least I have certain knowledge
The
based on
knowledge.
which I can go and influence.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So once I was there in all these years, then I found that there are some gaps definitely, and I know how to fill those gaps because of my experience. And to influence it, I felt if I can get into a board role, probably I'll have a greater sphere of influence in
Right.
convincing people
Right.
to implement those which will benefit the society as a whole.
Agreed.
Okay.
Agreed.
Okay. So that's how then I was checking here and there. Then I found Directors Institute. Actually, when I was doing all this, then I found that Ministry of Corporate Affairs and IICA, Institute of Corporate Affairs, were really doing a very good thing,
Mhm.
that they have brought in a new law that every director should have a minimum qualification, at least pass this mandatory exam.
Wow. Hmm.
This is really great.
Really
Okay.
great.
This law has come out in 2013, right? It's really great. Then
Mhm.
that's how, when I was going through all this, when I was thinking I should get into a board role, how to become a director, and what are the prerequisites, what is required, then I found Access Institute, of course. Then when I went through the courses, especially digitalization of business, environment and social governance, corporate governance, then my perspective has completely changed. Really, because I didn't know so many things. Oh, I know this. Oh, I know this. Why I'm not speaking about it?
Right. Right.
Now I started speaking about this in my current company, and they are all so impressed. Yes,
Wow.
Chandra. Oh, we didn't think about it in this direction and everything, and this has improved my morale like anything.
Wow.
Then, so I went to this IACA. I came to Dax Institute after this course. In first attempt, even I have passed the IACA exam. Okay,
Mhm.
and this is how. That's why I mean. I don't know. When I told you in the beginning, right? I was lucky that I joined mechanical engineering somehow. Here also, I feel lucky that I found Directors Institute and joined it somehow. I don't know how it happened, but everything happens for good, you see. Let me
Wow.
see, where will this take me?
Yes, yes, and it's so wonderful to hear your experience with Directors Institute is already making an impact on your leadership journey, sir. And it really resonates with those who are looking to take their career to the next level. And it actually also comes from within, like you're so open to continue to learning to enhance your skill. That takes a that's a wonderful achievement in itself. That after having such an extensive experience you're still open to learning new things and uh, doing something about your career. So that's really wonderful, and thank you for that wonderful feedback. I hope that this curriculum is able to help you achieve the goals that you have set for yourself.
Thank you, thank you. Of course, not only the goals, but thing is, if I can do something for the greater benefit of the society. That's what I
Absolutely.
want to do.
Absolutely. And
Mm.
I really wish you all the best for your future, sir.
Thank you, Miss Charu. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
And you have also been motivating. I really, when I hear, I get more motivated. Thank
that's
you
it.
very much.
Thank you so much for that, sir. That wraps up today's insightful conversation with Mr. Chandra. It's been an absolute pleasure to hear about his remarkable journey and the exciting path he's paving with Directors Institute. We hope this experience and thoughts have sparked some fresh perspective for all of you tuning in. Whether you're already a leader in your field or aspiring to be one, there's always something new to learn from those who have walked the path before us. Thank you for thank you so much for joining us on FaceTime with Leaders today, brought to you by Directors Institute. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, share, and stay tuned for more inspiring stories from the brightest minds out there. Until next time, keep leading, keep learning, and remember, the best is yet to come. Thank you.